He's doing it. Okay, so today is August the 13th. We have already actually gone over our math workshop and last night's homework. So I am starting with the notes. We are taking these notes for today and kind of filling in the blanks. Here we go. So we started out before I remember to record, but that's okay. We got the quotient. It is the result when the dividend is divided by the divisor. In a minute, I'll kind of make more sense of this. I'll make it a little bit easier, okay? Quotient. Think of it as the answer to division problems, okay? Okay, the second one, we got dividend. Notice the ending of this thing, okay? A number that is being, another word for split, by another number. Divided by another number. Yes, it's kind of silly because we have it twice. But, got it, divided. You're taking a large, or usually a larger number and breaking it into chunks. So you're taking that dividend and breaking it up. We're dividing it into groups. Okay? Now, this is kind of just a silly way to remember it, but the dividend is the one that, what kind of rhyme? Like the one that ends. Okay, I know, it's kind of weird. I used to say it was in. Once you think about it, a lot of times in division we say in the house or outside the house. So I would say it's in. The person who wrote this, says it ends. I'll share more about that in just a second. Okay. I know it's kind of weird. Okay, and then the divisor is the number by which the dividend, very good, is divided. Good. It's a lot of wordage that can be confusing. Okay. The dividend by the divisor. And remember, divisor is at the end. We got in the house, outside the house. The divisor's knocking on the door. And I'm going to explain that better in just a second. Yes?
Do we have to highlight it?
Nah, I'm just highlighting for y'all's sake, that's all. But the divisor is at the door. So let me just show you this. Right? It's kind of weird written that way, but let me show you down here. Okay. There are two ways to write long division, bless you, in standard algorithm. One is with this thing, and a lot of us teachers call it in the house, outside the house. And then the other one is writing it out horizontally. Okay? Now, what we got to know is, where is each word? We got dividend, divisor, and quotient. So which one is in the house? Okay, so the dividend is the way I remember it, the house. And it's at the end. There's the end. It's in the house. Or it's at the end of the problem. It's kind of at the end. Okay? So we're just trying to figure out where these words should go. What is outside the house? Divisor. And the reason we said it was knocking on the door is because of this right here. The divisor is at the door. And then the last thing is the answer is called the quotient. So it is up here. Okay. Here's the odd part. Are you sure? Okay. So when we take these and we write them in this order, we got to be careful. What comes first? We're trying to break this number up. So what is that called? Dividend. I know this is hard. Dividend is being broken up by the divisor to equal the quotient. Yes, and it is on the roof. So the thing is, what I used to do was if somebody started asking me about vocabulary with these, I would draw this out. And then I would kind of look back at the definition, and it would say, like, the number that it's being divided. I'd say, oh, the dividend's being divided up. Things like that, okay? We will review the vocab next Tuesday. And I'll kind of give you some, we'll start working on a little bit more this week. Because next Wednesday will be our 100-point unit test on this add, subtract, multiply, divide, and we'll have vocab on it. Okay? So, here we go. Okay. Now, there is a goofy saying that a lot of you, your teachers, used last year to help you remember the steps of division. I heard it. What is it? Does
McDonald's sell cheeseburgers?
You got it. So if you've never heard it and you think you might need it, it says, does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? And I didn't make this up. I will never take credit. Someone did. And it's just a silly way to remember the steps of dividing, especially long division. We're going to be doing multi-step division this year. So it'll have a few steps to it. Okay, and so the D stands for divide. Okay. Your next step for the M stands for multiply. The S stands for subtract. Now, the C stands for kind of, they call it check. And I'll admit, it's not always like check your work. I'm going to show you where. We need to check to make sure what our remainder is smaller than what's on the other side. Okay? And then the last one is the B for bring down. And it's just meaning bring down any numbers that are left. So I usually draw like an arrow right there. Bring down. Okay. And I've been really impressed today that the kid, already watching some of the kids do division and stuff this year. It's been really, y'all really must have worked on it last year, which is awesome. So starting out with number 1 here. First off, the big situation is, what should go in the house?
298.
298. So, we're going to do 7 on the outside, 298 on the inside. Okay. Now, some kids may not have ever done this before, so I'm just going to talk you through it, but you start out with just one number. So I'm going to kind of cover up everything but that 2. And I'm going to ask, can 7 go into 2? No. So think about it this way. If you've never really done division, think about it this way. If I only have 2 apples, can I make a group of 7?
No.
No. Biggest group I can make is 2. So what I'm going to do is put a little X there. You can put an X or you can put a 0. But I would put something. A lot of kids who skip that step end up with extra numbers and stuff. Okay. Now I'm going to scoot over one more. So can 7 go into 29? Yes. So 7 times what?
4.
Is as close to 29 without going over it. 7 times 4 is 28. You got it. So I'm going to put the 4 up top in the quotient. And the 28 goes right there. Everybody good so far? Subtract. And we got 1 left over. Now we're at the check point. This is where I need you to check it. And listen, this is what I need you to check. Always check before you bring down the next number. Is that 1 smaller than that 7? 1? Yes. If it is, then you're allowed to bring down the next number. Okay? So you're going to bring down the 8. So now I'm working with the number 18. Can 7 go into 18?
Yes.
How many times? 2 times. Because 7 times 2 is 14. Now, here is the weird part. I need you to stop right there and just listen for a second. Okay. In 6th grade, we are not doing the R remainder thing. We don't do that anymore. We're also actually not doing decimals yet, because we do decimals in a couple weeks. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all our remainders and turn them into fractions. Because fractions is what we're doing right now, kind of in a weird way. Okay, so to make that a fraction, you basically made 42 whole groups with 4 left over out of how many? 7. So you just add the fraction, 4 over 7. And a lot of y'all did this last year, which is awesome. But it's going to be 42, and you just bring the remainder up with the divisor underneath. So the answer is 42 and 4/7. Okay? If there is no remainder, like it's a 0 at the final, then there's just no fraction. There's just no fraction. Okay? Everybody good so far?
Wow.
Okay.
I've never seen that. It's creepy.
Never seen that part? But we've done division before.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So that's not hard. Listen, later, let's say you're doing your homework and you can't remember about the fraction thing. Look back at this one and say, what'd she do? Oh, yeah, she put the 4, she put the remainder on top, and that number underneath. Okay? So let's look at number 2. Number 2 is 300 divided by 45. So what number goes in the house? 300, okay? And 45 is outside. Now, this is where I need to, what I'm going to call, make some of you feel a little bit better. We don't know, I don't even know my 45s tables. And there is, in division, in the world of division, there's a lot of what I call guessing games. You got to kind of start guessing at what you think it might be. So as I'm doing this, I'm going to jot some stuff like on the edge right here. Just leave it. If you jot stuff on the edge, leave it. That way, you number one, you might be able to use it later. But that way you don't have to do it again if you need it later. Okay? So I just want you to kind of think about that. So start out with 45. Can it go into 3?
No.
No.
0.
Okay, 0 or X, either one. Can it go into 30?
No.
No. So I'm looking at how many 45s can go into 300.
3. 6.
Okay, so somebody said 3. I'm going to start with 3. 1 second. So look on the edge of this paper right here. I'm jotting it down because I don't know it. But that answer I got was 135. Okay. 6. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. Okay, 6 times 5 is 30. 24, 2, 5, 2, 6, 27. I got 270.
Ha.
I do it anymore anyways.
That's good.
That's good?
Yeah, you can do it anymore.
Okay. If you're not sure, you could do a 7 and check it. There's another, like, what I can do is this. I'm going to take 6. I'm going to put it in my quotient. And I'm going to say 6 times 45 is 270. Do my cute borrowing and all that stuff. And I got 30 left over. So the way to check it is 30 smaller than 45?
Yes.
Yes, then you are good to go. Because if it had been bigger, we would have needed to make that a 7. Okay? Now, and I would just leave this. Still don't erase it. Just leave it. Okay? That way I can kind of figure out what you were thinking. Okay? Now, our remainder is, so kind of look back at this one if you need to. What should be on the top of the fraction? 30. And what should be on the bottom? 45, yes. And I will admit, we will learn to reduce and simplify and all that good stuff, but I'm not going to stress out with that yet. Okay? So, it's not hard if you did it last year. The main new thing that we're pushing is the fractional remainder thing. Okay? the math people. So, okay. Please stop. Please stop. Now, there are 6 problems that that are on this worksheet for homework, and I really, really wish most of my kids have had 7 or 8 minutes to do them in. I really, really wish you all would use your time wisely. For all of you that are even watching me video this, what I do is, at the end of the video, I try to show the homework. So, like, this is tonight's homework. That way, if you can't find your copy, or if whatever, for whatever reason you can't find it, you could at least watch the video and copy it down on notebook paper. Okay? I don't care. If you have to do it on notebook paper, that is fine with me. Okay? And then there's 5 and 6. There's 5. And there's 6. Okay? I can kind of walk around, and as you finish, I can check it. Okay? Some of the classes I've been able to do that, and I haven't. So, keep studying multiplication tables. Fast facts on Friday. 5 minutes for all 100. 5 minutes for my class. Okay.